Hello, today we're going to talk about two products, the Vlieseline H640 and the Vlieseline H630. They are both fusible waddings in the Vlieseline range. Both the Vlieseline H630 and H640 are 90 centimetres wide on the roll. The main difference between the H630 and the H640 is the actual thickness of the two products. The H630 is slightly thinner. Now, if you're using a lightweight fabric or a medium weight fabric, and sometimes when I'm using smaller projects, then I prefer to use the H630. So this will just give you some idea using it there. However, if I'm wanting to make a bag and I want some structure, some body, but without bulk, then I will choose to use the H640. The Vlieseline H640, we've talked earlier, is a fusible wadding. You have a smooth side on one side, and on the other side, it is bobbly. Now again, if you can't feel that, just run a pin over and you'll realise that is the uneven surface, and that is the fusible side. You're going to place the fusible side onto the reverse of your fabric, and then you'll need a pressing cloth. Now a pressing cloth can be something as simple as this, which is just a piece of calico, and the pressing cloth needs to be damp. What is really important is when you are fusing the H640 is that you hold the iron in place for around about 15 seconds, then you lift the iron off and you move it and place it again. What you do not want to be doing is ironing it like that. And the reason for that is, as you're putting the iron on, the heat is activating the glue, and we don't want to spread the glue about, we just want to ensure that it fuses to the reverse of the fabric. So if you see at the moment, I'm doing it from this top end. If you have a slightly thicker fabric, what you could do, quite simply, is turn it over and fuse so the heat and the steam from the pressing cloth is in contact with the glue, and it will react a little bit quicker. So it's just really important that you just do what I'm doing, which is just pressing it. And then once you've fused it on, you need to lie it flat and leave it for at least 30 minutes. So if I was making a bag, what I would do is I would prepare all of the pieces that needed to have the H640 fused on. I then may go away and do another element of my project and then come back and use the H640 with the fabric. So just leave that, it fuses on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave that for 30 minutes at least. You can see it's fused here, and you also need it to cool down. Now, whilst I've handled it, I'd really rather you didn't handle it, but here's one that I fused earlier on. And as you can see, it's adhered to the reverse of the fabric, no problems at all. Once you've allowed the H640 to be left for at least 30 minutes, it's now ready to use in your project. So what I'm going to do here is I have a fabric and we're just going to place them right sides together. And remember, I didn't want the H640 to be in my seam allowance, so it's cut slightly short on my project. You could either use a heavy pin or alternatively just use your quilt clips. We're going to take it to the sewing machine, and on this occasion I'm just using my standard universal foot that came with the machine. However, I have increased the stitch length up to 3. Now at this moment in time, you could keep your stitch length at 2.5, which is your normal stitch length, because remember the H640 is not in the seam allowance, and so therefore I'm effectively just sewing 2 fabrics together. It's also a great way, if you're very precise on cutting your H640, you can use that as a sewing guide. So just quickly sew down that seam allowance there. And now, because I know I'm going to top stitch, I am going to increase my stitch length up to 3. So once I've increased it up to 3, you can see it's sewn. We'll flip that over. And you could give this a press at this stage, but I'm just going to use the quilt clip, so you could either finger press or you could press it with an iron. You could use a walking foot if you wanted to. There's absolutely no reason why not, but if you don't have a walking foot, then you'll get just as good a result as long as you increase that stitch length. So this time I'm just using the edge of the foot along the seam, and you'll see that the H640 goes through your sewing machine very, very easily. I've done nothing else other than increasing that stitch length. And there's your finished result. So it's perfect for bags and other projects. The Vlieseline H630 is the lightweight fusible wadding. And what we're going to do is we're going to adhere it to the reverse of the fabric. So there's your pretty side of the fabric, it's going to go on the reverse. You have a smooth side to the Vlieseline H630, and on the other side, the fusible side, it's bobbly. If you can't feel the bobbles, just run a pin along it and you'll feel that it's uneven. Place the fusible side onto the reverse of your fabric, and you need a pressing cloth, just a damp cloth, and all I'm using here is a piece of calico. And what you're going to do is you are going to place your iron on top of the pressing cloth, and you're going to hold it for approximately 15 seconds. Now it's very important that you leave the iron in place and you lift the iron off. What you don't want to be doing is ironing it like a shirt like that. Quite simply, what is happening is when we're pressing the iron down, it's activating the glue, it's waking it up. It's then going to stick to the back of the fabrics, and after you've adhered it to the fabric, you are going to leave it for at least 30 minutes. Now, if you're using a thicker fabric, you can see here at the moment, whilst this is the thinner of the two fusible waddings, if you are using a thicker fabric, what you can do quite simply is turn everything over, pop it like that, put your pressing cloth on the top so you've still got that steam activating it, and press it from this side, and it just simply means that the heat and the glue are in closer contact with each other. So once we've popped that on, we will then leave it for at least 30 minutes, and what I usually do is I prepare all the pieces that need to be interfaced first, and then I go off and do another part of the project that I'm working on, and then you can come back to it. So there you are, it's all adhered beautifully. So once you've allowed your Vlieseline H630 to rest for at least 30 minutes, you can now take it to your sewing machine. And I thought I'll just make an outside of a small pouch. So I've popped the fabrics so the right sides together. So I'm actually going through 2 layers of the H630. You can take it to your sewing machine. You can increase your stitch length up to 3 if you wish, but it isn't as critical with the H630 because it is much finer, it's much lighter. We'll take that to the end there. And then we'll just sew down the other side. Pop that down there like that. So once I've sewn down those ends, you could trim your seam a little bit. I'll just trim the seam quite close to the sewing on that side. Take a little bit off there. This one I'll not trim as much off the seam, just so you can see the effect. Turn that through. Poke out the corners so we'll get a nice finish. And the beauty about the H630 is it's a fusible wadding. It's a nice lightweight one, so it's ideal for small projects. And there you are. As you can see, Vlieseline has a wide range of products, each with different properties and benefits for your projects. You can view the whole range on the Vlieseline website, where you can download the brochure, which has detailed information on all of the products across our 4 categories. You can also join the conversation with us on our Facebook page, Creative Community Group and Instagram. All of the details are below.